Hello everyone and welcome back to a best of 5 series of top level StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Terran versus Zerg, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on Pride of Altaris. Spawning right here in the top left corner of the map, playing with the red Zerg drones from Finland, we have Serral, and his opponent in the opposite corner with the blue Terran SCVs from South Korea. We are looking at Maru's main command center. Alrighty, now in case you're unfamiliar, and I mean, I almost find that hard to believe because if you've watched any StarCraft 2 over like the last 5 years, you're probably familiar with both of these names. But in case you're unfamiliar, these two are at the top of everyone's list when we discuss who the greatest StarCraft 2 player of all time is. They're ridiculously good. Over the last 5 years or so, I would say, well, maybe like the last, I don't know, 4 years or so. Anyways, for the last couple of years at the very least, these two have been widely considered to be the rank 1 and the rank 2 in the world, sometimes switching position. Sometimes Maru seems a little bit better, sometimes Serral seems a little bit better, but there's no denying that both of these are ridiculously good. The series was played during IAM Katowice. Now, sadly, because I couldn't resist, I already watched the series live myself. Whenever there's a tournament going on, I always want to watch it, but I also, know that if I watch the series very closely, it's probably not going to be as much fun for me to go ahead and cast. But it's already been a little while, and I don't actually remember exactly what ended up going down. Plus, I think I mostly listened to it, so I kind of follow it from a distance, but I don't really dive into the details, just so it should still be enjoyable for me to go ahead and cast as well. Anyways, both of these players, they play what is considered to be the quote-unquote standard in StarCraft 2 in the current meta. Now, the reason for that is that they're both very successful at playing StarCraft, and therefore, they're almost like the ones that dictate what the standard even is. Now, the current standard in StarCraft 2, and really like the standard over the last, I would say ever since Legacy of the Void came out, it's been very macro-focused, meaning that players in general are very good at defending and then eventually overwhelming the opponent. So usually, we will see both of these players play very defensively in anticipation of the opponent, moving out, right? And then eventually they can obtain the victory. Anyways, Maru, of course, definitely expected to be the aggressor just because of the nature of Terran, especially when they go up against Zerg. But there's no denying that Maru is very happy to plant down many command centers, and therefore, this is going to be a little bit of a slower series, just because, well, I mean, I guess that's what happens, right? When you have top-level players facing off against each other, it's going to be very hard to win against Serral in a quick and feisty game. Serral is very well known to not die to stupid stuff, which sounds very obvious, but it's one of the absolute hardest things to do in StarCraft 2, because there's many different things that you can accidentally lose against. Serral, for example, very good at making the right amount of drones and then making the right amount of army at the correct moment as well. And even though that is one of the absolute basics of Zerg, it's also one of the absolute hardest things to pull off. Now, by the way, oh, there it is. Going straight into the pneumatized carapace upgrade. I saw a couple people asking how I've been doing. As you may have noticed, I saw a couple people panic, actually, because I didn't post a video yesterday. I decided to take it easy yesterday and only stream for a couple of hours. I've been doing quite well. So, in case you're unfamiliar, I managed to catch the Rona a couple of days ago. As you may have already noticed, my voice is sounding quite a bit better than it did a couple days back anyways, and overall I'm feeling much better. It kind of feels like, how do I put this in StarCraft 2 terms? It kind of feels to me like, I don't know, the Rona has flown its command center to the corner of the map, right? It hasn't GG'd out just yet, but I'm fairly certain I'm going to be able to finish up my starport soon enough and start producing a couple of Vikings, right? It should be GG soon enough. The only downside of the whole situation is that I did manage to get Loran sick as well. She's not too happy about it. Yeah. Anyways, we tried. We failed. Anyways, on to more positive things. We've got ourselves a double barracks start right here from Maru, followed up with a starport here as well. Maru going for the triple command center opener here, but still opening up with a marine transition. Pride of Altaris, of course, a pretty good Zerg map overall. Very good Zerg map, actually, overall. This is one of those maps where Zerg can happily expand all over the map. Plus, of course, there's the golden base right over here on the low ground as well. This is a golden base with 8 mineral fields in total, which is 2 more than what we normally see in a map of StarCraft, or StarCraft 2 map in general, and yeah, I think that Serral is going to be more than happy to take that one a little while later into the game. Many of the Zerg players tried to rush that one out. Serral, though, doing Serral things, playing extremely conservative. Going into the lair right now, going into the Baneling Nest, and even getting that Overlord speed upgrade This is allowing him to scout out exactly what it is the opponent is going for. And he scouts that there's an armory right here in the back of the main base of the Terran player as well. Obviously, knowing that there's an armory is nice. It means the Terran can add on a couple of hellbats as well if they really want to. But he's already scouted as well that the transition right here from Terran is just going to be more and more biological units. Generally, Overlord speed is amazing. Especially if you can actually justify spending the resources on it, right? So it's 100 minerals, 100 gas. Sometimes, whenever I play Overlord speed myself, I find myself scouting out exactly what my opponent is going for. But then I also find myself running out of money because I've just spent 200 resources on things that aren't going to help me out in the defense. So usually at the pro level, we do see Overlord speed mix in from time to time, but it is a bit of a gamble. Anyways, Serral is going to finish up a few banelings right here at home. Maru, of course, perfectly capable of going in for the splits here as well. Okay. For now, though, this army is actually packing a punch. At the same time, on the other side of the map, a couple of Zerglings here were sniped over at the third base. 0 workers were going down, though. And overall, yeah, Serral manages to defend right here at home, which is a really good situation for him to be in, because the follow-up push from Terran probably won't happen until these 1-1 upgrades are done. So Combat Shield and 1-1 are going to finish up right around the same time, and while Maru can roam the map with some of these leftover units, Stimpack is still nice. Maybe kill a Creep Tumor, maybe kill an Overlord. Serral is likely going to be more than happy to just, add on a bunch of workers and saturate his 4th base. No, either that, or he keeps on producing more army of his own. Double Evo Chamber, Hydralisk Den. Okay, he's going to go into 1-1. We've been seeing a lot of Hydraling Bane once again. Hydraling Bane has fallen off a little over the last couple of years, mostly in favor of lurkers. I mean, obviously you need Hydralisks to make lurkers, but we haven't really seen Hydras being used as a core unit all too often, but I noticed that Raynor was using it once again a couple of months ago. It seems to me that Serral might want to mix in a couple as well here in just a little bit. Baneling drop, right side of the map. That 1-1 upgrade, though, is finishing up here for Maru, creating an opportunity for him to push forward. Because for quite some time here, his biological units are going to be quite a bit stronger than the Zergs, who hasn't finished up 1-1 yet. Serral thinking about moving off creep. Okay, the army right there on the left side does get spotted. There's still the Overlord. Oh, I remember this! I remember watching this! This is one of the strangest interactions in a pro game ever. Look at this. Look at this! Are you seeing this? Serral forgets unloading the banelings. Maru has a red dot on the minimap for about 10 seconds. At this level of play, that should not happen. That was one of the strangest interactions in a pro game I've seen in a while. Anyways, Maru did manage to get into a very good position on the other side of the map, but at the same time, Zerg is overwhelming the 3rd command center right here of Terran. Okay, looks like that orbital command may end up burning down, but no. The problem here for Serral, though, is mostly cleaning up these 2 siege tanks, right? Maru in a really good spot over here. He wants to go through, but that mineral field over here, yeah, still slippery enough. Additional Zerglings run across the map as well, and I think that eventually... Oh my god, that was perfect. Serral manages to clean that up. Alright. By the way, historically speaking, these two have faced off against each other very infrequently. You'd imagine if they are the number 1 and the 2 in the world for quite some time, that they would face off against each other a lot. But historically in tournaments, they've managed to successfully dodge each other like 17 times. So they've only faced off against, I don't know exactly how many times. I think like 5 or 6 times maybe. But historically, yeah, not as often as you'd actually think. I mean, a few of those times were back before like Serral started really dominating. So Serral got really good in like, I think it was 2017, 2018 or so. 2018, he practically won everything. Alright, Baneling drop number 2. Yeah, it's kind of like a Widowmine drop, Maru. How do you like it now? Oh, Serral even loading that Baneling back into the Overlord. That is such a sweet move. Anyways, other than that Baneling awkwardness, I guess. Pretty much a perfect game so far for Serral. Not really running into any problems here whatsoever. Defending very smoothly at home. Reading exactly what the opponent is going for. Happily expanding all over the map, and now he's going for the golden minerals too. Most Zerg players like to grab that a little bit sooner, but apparently Serral is feeling comfortable. He's just trying to see if he can, use that as one of his macro bases. And obviously, as soon as this base is up and running, I mean, it's finishing right now, that's got to give the Zerg a ton of income boost. Maru trying to grab control back in this game, but whenever he shows up with one of his medevac drops, it seems that Serral is already there. Serral already scouting out the potential 4th base locations of the Terran right here, but not actually thinking about the low ground one. Maru going for the low ground. I like that one a lot, though. Obviously, if you can get a planetary fortress on that gold base position, there's an easy way for the Terran player to... Oh my god. To get back into it. Serral did send a Zergling in that direction, but probably did so in a heartbeat. And therefore, it's not very... Well, I guess less than a heartbeat, right? It's not in the perfect spot, so Serral actually doesn't see that the gold base has been acquired. Does he really care, though? I mean, at this point, Serral's got money. Yeah, he adds on 30 additional Banelings. +2/+2 is finishing up. Hive is just about to finish up as well, but this is certainly an opportunity for Serral to go in for a move if he wants to. He's gonna have, well, 50-odd Banelings. Okay. Definitely an opportunity. Now, that's good. That was a very nice hit right there from Maru. No detection right here for Serral. 2 Banelings, by the way, still available in that one Overlord on the right side of the map. There's the Lurker then. Serral burrowing all of his Zerglings right there for a little bit. Trying to go for the sickest of sickest ambushes. Not quite. But yeah, this is very Serral, right? So like, he's got a 50 Banelings, he's got a ton of eco, he's got everything going for himself, but he's like, you know what? No. I need a little bit more money. Now he's going for the Lurker transition. Okay, he does decide to commit right here onto that planetary fortress. Blowing up that planetary is obviously going to hurt the Terran's eco a lot. And Serral could probably try to continue dealing damage. Okay, that was actually really good for Maru. Killing the opponent's gold as well. Anyways, those drones have other places to mine from as well if they really want to. Yeah, it's not like Zerg has got that much eco either, though. But right now, Terran's back to 3 base economy, and yeah, that's quite a bit less than what the Zerg player has right here. This is also not even Serral's final form, right? The Serral is going to go into Hydra Lurker Viper here eventually with Ling Bane support. Maru would love to go into Ghosts here, but with this amount of eco, it's not going to happen. He's already floating on over the main command center, rebuilding the main command center as well, oddly enough. It's a bit of a strange interaction right there. Serral slowly, methodically teching up, trading out army wherever he can, blows up 7 SCVs, couple more are going to go down as well. All right. Maru really wants to kill all of his own workers there. That was a little bit strange. They're also dancing in the top right-hand corner. Not a flawless game here for Serral, but he's definitely playing quite a bit better overall. I mean, it's not that Maru isn't trying. It's just that Serral is not allowing much. There's the real transition, though. Okay, so there's 1 ghost at this point. Yeah, there's only 1 ghost coming up. Cloaking field is coming up as well. Or the cloaking field, rather, not the cloaking field. The cloaking field is coming up as well for the ghosts. Problem is, when there's 9 lurkers out, and you have 1 ghost, it is going to be nearly impossible to kill. Maru's strategy is to set up a concave and try and kill it with marauders, I suppose. And you know what? This is not awful. It's kind of bad, though. I mean, this is only like a quarter of the Zerg's army. Okay. Good hit right there by Maru. The Zerglings in the meantime cleaning up a bunch of the SCVs at the 6 o'clock position. Army at the top right, or in the top right, okay. Apparently abandoned by the medevacs. They're gonna have to walk home. Look how conservative Serral is playing, right? It is always kind of funny to me. He just does not take any risks that he doesn't need to, right? So when you think about it, I mean, it is the logical thing to do. Taking a fight there, it's a gamble. Why take the gamble? You're already ahead, just get more ahead. If you get more ahead, eventually, assuming you're trusting your own ability to not mess up, eventually you should obtain the victory. So there's the Nidus network. Serral's getting whatever upgrade he could ever need. He's just trying to be as Yeah, as slow and as methodical as he can be. I mean, it's a literal minefield out here right now, though. Maru. Yeah, once again, he's been given the chance. He's morphing a planetary fortress in for the second time in this position. Lurkers over here, not really achieving that much. Yeah, without like a Ling Bane or a Hydralisk support. That was actually really good right there for the Terran player. Anyways, at the same time, Zerg once again moving forward. Looks like all the Widow Mines have been successfully detonated. SCV is in a little bit of trouble. Planetary, well, gets cancelled. I guess Serral's strategy is to try and slowly suffocate the opponent. That being said, I mean, Maru did now secure 2 bases. I wonder if Serral was like... He had like 4 opportunities to close out this game, and don't get me wrong, he's still extremely far ahead, but he is giving his opponent a chance to get back into it. I sometimes wonder that, though, about him giving his opponent too much of a chance. Anyways... He knows that that the Terran right here is mining at the 6 o'clock position. Blows up 10 more workers. Oh my god. That's awkward. That was very awkward. Ghost right there, a bit of a jerk. The Zerglings in the meantime run into the natural expo. Serral all of a sudden is everywhere though. I think he's gonna go in for another wave right here on the low ground as well. This time around, no planetary. Maru feeling a little bit desperate about the situation, but he knows he needs to get some sort of economy in. Serral pre-splitting a lot of the units as well, setting up run-bys everywhere. Ghosts are going to be the main way of, I guess, getting back into this game. But, I mean, the counter to Ghosts is Banelings. And Serral has about 50 of those. GG. Game number 1 goes in favor of Serral. All right. Game number 2. We find ourselves on Blackburn. Now, I was curious, so I just looked it up. The win rate... for Terran versus Zerg on Pride of Alteris, because we don't really see that map very often in TVZ, it is 42.7% at the tournament level. Meaning that Terran players roughly win about 43% of the games, the professional games that is, played on Pride of Alteris. It certainly means that it was Serral's map pick right there in game number 1. So the way that that works is that since it's a best of 5 and there's 7 maps in the map pool of StarCraft 2, both players get to veto 1 map each, and then they basically take turns to decide what order the maps will be played in. Oftentimes it's decided by the seating in the brackets, or, well, literally a coin flip, I guess, if it's an offline tournament like this was. But yeah, Serral definitely got a little bit lucky there and got Pride of Alteris out of the way. Blackburn, probably a map that Maru is going to be a little bit more comfortable on. So he's decided to go for... Alright, so we have ourselves... We've got ourselves a depot right here over here and then double barracks in the back of his main base. The reason why he's planting them down over here is because... Serral is going to send the Overlord in this direction. So usually it's sent on over in the direction of the ramp of the Terran player, so you can see if a command center is building on the low ground. Maru also has an image of, well, building barracks on the other side of the map. And Serral is going to get here and then see that there is a whole lot of nothing. Is Serral going to panic? No. He's Serral. Doesn't really panic. But he doesn't want to know what's going on right now. So is it going to be a command center first? Could it be like a barracks hiding over here? What's happening, right? We don't see a factory either. So instead it's going to be a couple of Reapers right here produced in the main base of Maru. Maru's going to try and use the map to his advantage, going from slow zone to slow zone. Serral already, though, delaying his own third command... Or, well, a hatchery, I guess. His own third command center. He's opting to go for double queen right here, leaving the drones in gas as well. He'll probably start up link speed here. No, and he's not pulling out. So he's going to leave those drones in gas to mine for a little while longer. Command center does start up here eventually. Is this something that Serral has seen? I don't think so. No, he hasn't had vision of it, but he has seen the double barracks in the main base. And at this point, he probably put 1 and 1 together. The real question is, though, are there 3 barracks out right now for Maru? And is he going to go for like a, almost like an all-in? Or is he going to macro as a follow-up? Very difficult to see. 1 drone heading on over towards the 3rd base location. Serral wants to grab it. He's got the minerals for it, but Maru already denying that as well. And he decides to go for an engineering bay block. Okay. In the meantime, at home, reactor as well as a tech lab. And he's going to finish up this wall right here with another supply depot. Okay, so it's late second gas here. No factory or anything along those lines. Queen right here does, take a lot of damage. Maybe she ends up going down. Okay, she will. Brenda shouldn't have turned around. Serral decides to add on a baneling nest. Okay. Yeah, okay, so I guess this makes sense, right? So Maru at this point, he's playing a very tricky game. Like, Maru is trying to go for a 300 IQ strategy. And Serral's like, you know what? What if I just baneling bust you? He's adding on a ton of Zerglings. The baneling bust is one of the absolute earliest Zerg strategies. Serral actually hiding the additional Zerglings there as well. Maru hasn't seen those. Yeah, lagging those behind right here. I don't think he's gonna get a glimpse of it. I love this move right here from Serral. So there's a supply depot wall off, command center on the low ground, very late factory. There's a whole lot of nothing available right here for Maru to defend against the most basic Zerg attack ever. There's the banelings coming up, 8 of them being morphed in right here for the finisher. Command center on the low ground in a lot of trouble. That one will have to lift off. Maru desperately adds on a couple of bunkers, but I think he needs to create a full wall off. Yeah, he's going to try and create a second layer to this wall. Is the command center going to be in time? No, Maru leaving that one on the low ground for a little bit too long, it seems, and the Zerglings and the banelings are now inside of the main base of the Terran player. Serral just happily sending in more and more units towards the other side of the map, and this is the most basic attack you can go for as a Zerg. Maru trying to play a 300 IQ build. Serral looked at it once and he knew what to do. Yeah, that's a pretty bad feeling right there for Maru. When you're trying to play such a smart game, right? Where you try to predict your opponent's overlord scouting pattern and the way you can catch them off guard because of it. And then this really clever 300 IQ transition where you're going into the upgrades. And you're just trying to like block your opponent's base with an NG bay. And then eventually you die to literally the most basic attack ever. So Maru invested a ton of resources right there into things that were going to pay off, hopefully, in the long run. And Serral's like, yeah, but what if I play a strategy that, you know, doesn't go the distance? What if I go for something where I just put all of my eggs in one basket and go for an all-in? Yeah. I think mentally, that's the type of game that hurts quite a bit. Because you're trying to play a 300 IQ strat, and you die to, like, one of the most basic upon basic strategies ever. Anyways, Hardwire LE. Every single time I cast a Hardwire game featuring Maru, he's gonna go mech, right? This is kind of his bread and butter right now. Maru actually has been, according to a lot of Zerg players at least, that's what I've heard, he's been poisoning the StarCraft 2 ladder. So a couple of months ago, Maru showed that it is once again possible to play Terran mech. For about 2 years or so, we didn't really see any Terran mech, so an army based around siege tanks, Thors, Hellions, Hellbats, that sort of thing. We saw a lot of Marine Marauder-based armies instead. Maru's like, no, just play like this. Just go into Ghosts in the end game, and you'll be fine. This is a style that he's been practicing for a while, and I'm pretty sure he should be pulling it off right here again as well. So Hardwire is the perfect map for Terran mech. There's a lot of good choke points, a lot of high grounds, and a relatively easy to take base right over here as well. So say you have like a... I don't know, you have taken control of this part of the map, right? You have this as your third, you have a couple siege tanks sprinkled over here, you've got this area walled off, or like a sensor tower or something. You only really need to position the siege tanks that you got right over here, right? And then suddenly you have also access to these minerals right over there, and at the same time you can still simultaneously defend this expo over in this location too. Anyways, generally speaking, Maru likes to mix it in. Going already for a very quick reactor, even scouting with an SCV as well, just to make sure he doesn't get cheesed. Serral's not likely to be cheesing, but I mean, he's also not unlikely to be cheesing. Although, to be fair, in the previous game, that wasn't really like him setting that game off with the intention to go for a baneling bust, but that was him seeing a vulnerability and then exploiting it. Only 2 drones in gas, by the way. Interesting. So he starts up gas or link speed right here at like 150 gas in total. I guess he's leaving 2 in gas once again to go into Overlord speed. Serral scouting around everywhere. These are little moves, but they count. You will notice this in pretty much all the Serral games. There's like Zerglings and Overlords and things going around the map to scout the most likely proxy locations. And despite the fact that I would say probably 85 out of 100 games, there's not going to be anything in those locations. The times that there is something there, you can shut it down before it lays eggs. Once more, going into the Overlord speed upgrade as well. So Serral is playing a very safe series so far. Not really taking any gambles. I mean, you can argue that the baneling bust was a gamble, but I'm pretty sure that was just a really clever strategic move. Alright. Matter of fact, just about to finish up. I've seen this many times before. I think that this is still going to be a mech transition. Alright, there's the fusion core coming up. Serral hasn't scouted this just yet. I mean, it doesn't have to be a mech transition. I don't actually recall this game. Serral really wants to see. Yeah. So for the longest time, whenever you saw like 5 Marines from a Terran player, it had to be a bio play, right? It had to be a bio transition. These days, though, Terrans like to mix this in, even when they don't go for... Oh my god, Serral. Okay, finally spots it. Sees the fusion core right there in the back. This does mean that the battlecruiser opener will not be a surprise. But, I mean, should be totally fine, right? Battlecruiser is still pretty good. Even then, though. So, despite the fact that Serral scouted exactly what was going on, that's still a very quick baneling nest. Kettle Bruiser coming right up. Seven Marines inside of the main base. Stimpack hasn't started. There's 2 more gases going down inside the natural as well here, all of the Terran. Yeah, so this battlecruiser shouldn't really do any damage as far as like the Zerg drones go, but it's still going to be nice to have it around. They're obviously extremely expensive. Serral even going in for the follow-up scout as well. And there's the factories, okay. So he's like, hey, you should probably go for your transition right now and show me if you want to play bio or mech. So let me like fly in the Overlord to remind you that you should probably be putting those structures down. So there's the double factory added into the mix. So despite the fact that there were, I think, 7 Marines here, still gonna be bio. Serral adding on his own Spire. This will obviously unlock the Corruptor, but also the Mutalisk. Double Armory as well here for Terran players. So Serral's scouting everything. This shouldn't happen, by the way. So Maru has had a Viking out, but look, the Viking is on idle. It's something that we probably shouldn't be criticizing. It's such a small move, but yeah, I mean, if this thing was looking around the map to, you know, scout incoming... sorry, there was a battlecruiser in the main base that I didn't even look at. It's not really that interesting, right? Because we already figured it wasn't going to do any damage. Anyways, it shouldn't deal damage anyway. But what I'm getting at is that Serral is, like, making small moves that aren't being met by, you know, Maru, at least so far in this series. Aliens trying to get some sort of work in. Drop over here. Oh, nice. Maru gets the kill on that base. No cancel. So that's 300 minerals down the drain, plus the cost of the drone. That is about the best that those Marines could have hoped for. Second battlecruiser, by the way, is coming up. Now, that is quite interesting, but guess what? Serral's got a unit with 17 eyes inside of the main base. Once again, scouting it all out. Serral, by the way, does have a lot of gas here. Okay, he goes for Mutas. +1 flyer comes up as well. Mutiling Bane against Terran Mech. It is a bit of a funky situation to be in. So this is going to be like one of the absolute most mobile armies in the game, going up against one of the absolute slowest armies in the game. Although I guess we do have Cyclone production here from Maru. And Cyclones do definitely, yeah, allow the Terran some mobility. Double Expo. Here go the Mutas. Mutas surprisingly bad against battlecruisers, by the way. You'd imagine that they're good against it, but they're mostly good at flying around and harassing the mineral lines. Serral adds on 15 drones as well on the back of this, though. Maru is usually very good at the base defense. Let's see. Yeah, this is flawless so far. Really nicely done. Zoning with the battlecruiser. Zoning here with the Cyclones. Not taking damage here is absolutely critical. If you lose like 10 workers, I mean, it starts snowballing very quickly. Because at the same time, Serral's obviously adding on more drones. And you find yourself, yeah, falling behind quite a bit. So far, we see 13 mutas that really haven't done anything yet because Maru has been zoning them well. I guess they're used for base defense, which is nice and all, but... Alien, still pretty quick. Beautiful. Yeah. Maru seems to be more on point here so far. Other than, I guess, denying those Overlord scouts, which he tried, and then he kind of just gave up on it. He's like, he's going to see it anyway. This game has been very clean. Command Center number 4 and 5. Generally, Maru starts building up the Command Center count right around the time that he secures the 4th. Battlecruisers, by the way, have Tactical Jump ready to go. Transfusions right there on the Mutalisks. You should get out in time, though. Oh, God, that was close. Why do you cut it so close, Maru? Anyways, now it can be repaired back up to full, which is nice. 12 Swarm Hosts are coming up. Alright. So Serral is going... Mutaling Bane, Swarm Host, and I already saw a Roach Warren as well. Yeah. This is one of those army compositions that's, like, theoretically great. I mean, I casted a viewer-submitted game. Remember that viewer game I casted, like... What was this? Last Saturday? I think it was last Saturday. I'll go ahead and post a link to that one down below in the video description of this one. We had a viewer submit a very similar play style. Where they went for, like, the Mutalisks and the Lings and the Banes and then also the Swarm Host. The only problem with this sort of unit comp is that while it's extremely good in theory, it's also extremely APM intensive. Serral obviously more than capable of doing so, rolling through the Banelings right here as well. Nicely done. Gotta say though, I'm impressed right there by the splits of Maru too. That could have been an absolute disaster, but that first wave of Swarm Hosts usually, like the first wave of Locusts rather, that's usually the biggest problem. And so far, I mean, Maru did lose a bunch of units, but he's going to be able to now replace those with, like, for example, Thors, right? That's very good. So far, that actually was pretty sweet. Those battlecruisers picking up a lot of the Locusts as well. The Sim City here by the Terran player, wonderful. Creating choke points where those siege tanks can deal additional splash damage, where those Hellions can line up the fire a little bit more comfortably. This is, by the way, not an army, so Serral cannot fight with this army, right? Like, this is not an army where he can actually, like, face off against the Terran in a one-on-one battle. So Serral is gonna have to play extremely aggressively here. Maru's best bet is to go for, like, an all-out assault towards the other side. Like, try to max out and then go for, like, a push. Serral doesn't want that to happen, though. He wants the Mutas and the Swarm Host and apparently the Queens and the Spore Crawlers and the Creep and the Lings and the Banes. He wants that army. He wants to use all of that to keep this Terran player occupied to make sure they do not move across. This map does have a relatively long distance from base to base. From, like, the Zerg side of the map towards the Terran side of the map. So it's not like Maru can just unsiege and leave. Planetary right here ends up going down. Mutas coming in here as well and dealing a lot of damage. Serral showing a completely different playstyle from what we normally see. This is a very high skill playstyle. I just want to emphasize how easy it is to accidentally lose here. A couple of those Javelin missiles can be a disaster. Serral also isn't, like, sacking the Mutas right here because he's adding on more. Widowmine's burrowed over there. Maru not getting a lucky hit in just yet. Serral now literally has spread the creep though towards the third base here of the Terran player. Fifth, though, has been acquired. Planetary once again morphing in. 25 SCVs have gone down, but Serral hasn't killed the army here of the Terran player, and Maru is slowly creeping towards his maxed out state. Okay, Hellbats in the front here. Widow Mines, okay. I don't really like these Banelings. You know what? I guess that was the best you're gonna get. Mutas, once again, want to flippy flap on over. Triple missile turret. Is there enough? Oh, I think there is not going to be enough here for the Terran player. Nope. Probably needed to park one of those other units there. Okay, battlecruisers in the meantime goes towards the other side, or go towards the other side of the map. There's now 4 of them in total. A 5th one is coming up too. Queens are starting to fall. Maru finds a hole right here in the defense. Once again, teleporting the individual units back home in time. Locust wave number 74. Oh my god. Okay, this one Cyclone over here really wanted to trigger all of those to fall to the ground. At the same time, though, Maru, you need to get out. You need to get out. You need to get out! Oh my god, he keeps all of it alive again. He's been playing with fire, but I almost feel like he needs to, right? Neuroparasite comes up. He did kill the hatchery, by the way, which is awesome. Nicely done by Maru. Swarm host thinking about trying their luck elsewhere. Missile turret over here finishes up though, and Maru gets a little blip on the radar. Or many blips on the many radars. He sees exactly where the Zerg is currently located. Army cycles on over in that direction, but obviously the siege tanks can't really leave. Rather than splitting up the units, Serral is thinking about keeping them all together, but that's not working out, and Maru holds. Maru going for his new transition, right? This is what he loves to do. Ghost Academy comes up, and then 3 additional barracks. Those barracks are meant to produce ghosts, so the ultimate Terran army is going to be this mech-based force together with, like, ghosts for support. Serral going for an army that's more capable of fighting in a direct battle. So he's got Corruptors, Ravagerling Bane, and then also still some leftover Mutas and a whole lot of Swarm Hosts. Okay, nicely done right there with those Widow Mines from earlier. I like it a lot. But Maru is moving deep onto the creep. This is becoming very dangerous, okay? The Locust Wave once again activated. Did Maru overextend right here? Okay, Ghosts, or sorry, Thors right here splitting against this army. Banelings roll into the Thors as well, which is never a cost-efficient trade. I think Maru heavily overextended there. He didn't have the battle cruisers, so like, this is like, I don't know, like 30 supply caught off. Is it 6 supply per? I think it's like 6 supply per battle cruiser. They're super expensive. Yeah, he needed that army on the other side of the map. He was using those and splitting those up, and Serral saw where his army was located, the opponents that is, and he decided to take a chance. Worked out pretty well. So good at individually tapping those battle cruisers back home, right? Really good stuff. Anyways, he uses them very effectively. They've got a load of kills right now. 27 on that one. That's probably the OG battle cruiser. Have you seen a single one go down yet? Nah. I like battle cruisers so much. They're so cool. I mean, I wouldn't like them if they were played every single game, right? But I do think they're a really cool niche unit in the StarCraft world right now. They are so good when you get there, but they're also very hard to get to. So again, once more, maxed out. Corrosive Biles. Trying to land those right there on the battle cruisers. Good splits right there by Maru. Dodging all of those Biles. Siege tanks having a grand old time. Battle cruisers obviously can move and shoot at the same time too. So that was not a very good battle right there for the finisher whatsoever. If you look so far at the resources lost, yeah, you can see here that the Terran player is starting to slightly pull ahead. It's very difficult for Terran to stay alive in these sorts of circumstances. But Maru is managing so far, and he is going for the ultimate unit comp. Nidus Worm going up in the corner of the main. One goes right there, gets killed. At the same time, though, huge Zerg army going towards the bottom right-hand corner. I think it's ready to take care of another one of those bases. Keep in mind, this is match point right here for Serral. So Maru cannot afford to lose this. Going down 3-0 is... that's too much. You don't want to lose in the first place, obviously. But 3-0? People are going to start doubting you. Alright, there's the enhanced shockwaves. There's the Iron Bank building right now. 3 additional command centers added into the mix. Those locusts, though, dealing so much damage. Swarm hosts. One of the absolute worst Zerg units, but you can see in that in the right moment, at the right time, they are incredibly strong. Even though they're one of the worst, they're still really good. Okay, are we... oh, yeah, I like it, dude. Oh, you're mottoing the base down. Okay, one of the battle cruisers there eventually does go down, but Zerg did also end up losing a bunch of drones there. And then also a hatch. 13 SCVs, though, once more. Yeah, 56 of them have gone down. All right. Do we not want to send those drones on over towards... right over... no? Alright. The fact that Maru actually managed to stabilize is incredibly impressive. Like, it feels at this point as a Terran player that the Zerg is everywhere. Right? I guess that's the Zerg fantasy, that they can pop out their ugly heads anywhere you go. But that's really what it feels like right now. Like, there are so many areas that the Zerg can attack from. They can tunnel underground. They can take control of your army. They can just flood in unit after unit. But the fact that Maru has managed to hold on so far is very good. I think Serral's intention was probably to win before this point, right? Just try and harass the opponent to death and then eventually overwhelm them. Serral still has a good bank, but he doesn't really have an army that's capable of fighting this sort of army here from the Terran player head on. Battlecruisers, once again, show up at the correct time. Ah, that was really beautiful. High-level StarCraft is such a treat to watch, man. Like, sometimes I try to watch other esports. I'm sorry, other esports out there, but you just aren't as good as StarCraft, okay? Like, some of them are pretty fun, don't get me wrong, but... seriously, though. You don't need to be an expert to realize how incredibly good these players are. Now, here's the neural parasites, though. Serral taking control right there of those stores temporarily. Okay, Maru does finally eat a couple of biles right there. Okay, Serral targeting with his opponent's stores, but that was a really nice fight overall there for Maru. The ghost count is very high now. Yeah, I guess the ultimate goal is to have, like, as many ghosts as you can have, right? He's got 69 SCVs, so that's quite nice, too. But I think we should especially notice the ghost count. Every Terran player's favorite MOBA. Or MOBA champion, MOBA hero, whatever. The ghost. I almost feel like it's not worth mining this base anymore, Mr. Maru. There's like so few minerals still remaining, and Maru's like, no, must finish it. Battlecruisers. You hear the little bleep. Indicates that they're coming on over in this direction. They'll kill the OV. They'll kill the Nidus Worm before anything can rear out of it. Really? That's a siege tank with a story. Not sure exactly how that one survived those banelings. Had Zerglings in its blind spot and then still somehow... it doesn't matter. Anyways, the Zerg. Taking care of a planetary fortress in the bottom right-hand corner. Maru at the same time, though, is moving in towards the left. Where's the Ghost army? Okay, Ghosts are at home, apparently based for the defense. This is so dangerous, though. Maru's splitting up his army. He knows damn well that the Zerg is going to be able to come home before he can ever reinforce that. Oh, Serral wanted to go for the Neural right there. Neural Parasite, EMP to Ghosts. Use their weapons against them. Corruptors, okay. That's a lot of dead battlecruisers. And I think that's the end of them. 19 drones have gone down, though. Maru is sitting out on the map. Some of the siege tanks on creep, extremely spread out. Do you not want your ghosts over there, Maru? I can't believe he's leaving his army hanging. 13 Brute Lords. Serral's like, well, if you don't have your ghosts there. You know what's really good against literally everything here? 13 Brute Lords. At this point, this is not scouted yet. Maru has no idea that this is coming. I mean, he can expect it, because there's only so many units that Zerg can make, but... he needs the ghosts. Okay, Maru actually leaves. I think leaving here is the correct choice. So Maru killed, I think, 3 bases. I don't know if this one was already taken, but... he did kill a bunch of bases, and now he's going back home. As soon as he leaves, though, Zerg bases will be remade. The building armor. Alright. No cool reception right here in the capital city of the Terran player. To congratulate those siege tanks and Thors with their victory. Apparently the war is not over. Oh, there it is! I love that move! That is a new thing. We've only seen that a handful of times. So Serral right there using the Neural Parasite, taking control of one of the opponent's ghosts, and then use the ghost to EMP to get rid of the energy out of the other ghosts. It's a small move, very hard to pull off, but Neural Parasite can be used from Burrow. And if Terran doesn't have a Raven or a missile turret or any detection nearby, that is a disaster. Obviously, those ghosts will slowly accumulate energy once again, but this is now giving Serral the opportunity to move forward right here with the Brutes. Planetary goes down. Serral conservatively moving back once again. Serral also now going up against the Terran army that's once more split up. This is so hard to do well, man. It's so easy to, like, split up your Terran army and then, like, lose both of them to the Zerg because they're just gonna, like, you know, be everywhere. A lot of drones have gone down over the course of the last couple minutes, though. Army right here in the top left. Serral, okay, on the run. Base over here in a bunch of trouble. Base over here also. Not in a very good spot. Serral doesn't actually have much mining anymore at this point. Now, he's got 500 minerals coming in a minute. Maru still, alright, outperforming his opponent here. Doesn't have a lot, but a lot of it is also not very efficiently spread, so could probably move half of those SCPs on over to those mineral patches. One Brute Lord, a little bit too far ahead with Maru with the evacuation. 7 health medevac, don't care. Okay, that's not a dead orbital command. Brutelings right here, forcing those siege tanks to gun down each other. Oh my god. Yeah, they will end up going down. Brutelings once again moving forward. At the same time, the siege tank squad together with 2 Hellbats apparently getting some damage on the other side of the map. Zerglings and Brutelings dealing damage wherever they can. Maru up with his back against the wall, but he's got a very large wall. Serral's got a very small back. Wait, no, that's... Anyways. That analogy went all wrong. But Maru's got more stuff here than his opponent is what I'm getting at. Even though Serral is pushing him back. I don't know if Serral has enough to actually close this out right now. Those ghosts. I mean, I keep hyping up the ghosts, and they haven't really showed themselves very well so far, but... 19 SCVs, by the way, have just gone down. That small hit squad of siege tanks dealing a lot of damage. Siege tanks deal more friendly fire or more single target damage than when they're sieged up. So, yeah. Great Aspire goes down. Eventually, the Zerg army is going to be able to clean this up. But that actually... That hit squad just killed, like, I think 1, 2, 3... Maybe 4 bases, plus a bunch of important tech. Plus, like, 50 drones. Serral very busy on the other side of the map. He's like, I'm gonna go kill you. And Maru's like, LOL, no. Just, no. Alright. Maru, still a lot of mineral fields in the bottom right. Feeling good about it. Doesn't really need to push right here, but Serral does need to get something done. Snipes right there. Okay, good work right here by Maru. Grabs a bunch of those Ravagers. Hellbat's the one in the charge here as well, in the lead, purposefully tanking a lot of the damage right there for the Brute Lords. Ghosts found a good spot as well to lay down some more snipes. And eventually, it is going to be Maru who obtains the victory. That was an awesome game. Alright, next up, we find ourselves on Berlingrad. I guess that means that the previous map was Serral's map pick, assuming Pride of Altaris was. And then obviously Blackburn was probably Maru's, yeah. That it's Serral once again, so that means that Berlingrad must have been Maru's map pick. I mean, I find it hard to believe that Maru would pick Pride of Altaris as map 1. That makes no sense. So curious to see what he's got for us. Obviously, Serral does still have a little bit of wiggle room. If he wants to go for a timing attack, or like an all-in, or some sort of cheese, this would be the way to do it, but... This would be the moment to do it, but I don't think... no. It's not really that he, that he's not able to do it, it's just that he doesn't really like to do it. Hatchery at 16 supply. Then we'll see one more drone that will go to the minerals, one more drone that will go to the gas, and then one more that will eventually become the spawning pool. Trying to double up all of the mineral fields first. One of the small things that's not often highlighted, but sometimes your workers can kind of derp around a little bit. So sometimes you find yourself with 16 out of 16 on the main building, But then you look at your mineral patches a little bit closer, and you've got like one of them that has 3 drones on it, and then one that only has only 1, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So you want to try and double up. You can see Serral right there forcing the drones onto a certain mineral field. Obviously, Maru is doing the same thing as well. Now, as the game progresses, ideally you would do that on your 6th base as well, but obviously by the time you have 6 bases out, there are many other things to worry about too. So usually it's only the 1st base where we will see that. Maybe the natural. Overlord taking a curious scouting pattern. Generally, we see this first Overlord heading on over towards this pillar. Top of the ramp first, then towards the pillar. I think Maru may have actually just spotted the OV right there. So maybe that's gonna determine for him where he wants to go ahead and put that that tech of his. Nah, doesn't matter. Reactor probably over here. Factory switcheroo. Happy days. Reaper in the meantime, harassing the drone that was originally supposed to become the 3rd base. Yep, looks like we have another drone heading on down towards the low ground on the left side of the map. Serral pulling the drones out of gas this time around, so he's still got 1. But 1 is not going to be enough to start up Overlord speed at a respectable time, so Serral apparently feeling at least the heat a little bit. Apparently not too concerned anyways. Oh, very ambitious drone. Feeling the heat a little bit. Not going for Overlord speed this time around. Does he really need it? Probably not. Is Maru gonna show him any shenanigans? Nah, probably not. It's just gonna be a good old triple CC start. A delayed starport, but we're gonna be able to start pumping out a couple of those Hellions here at once. There we go. And I expect this Overlord to fly in within the next half minute or so. So usually between 3:45, 4 minutes-ish. That's where we see that. Reaper over here continues the harassment for a little while longer, but not getting any significant kills anyways. Alright. One thing Serral's really good at is getting Zerglings inside of the opponent's main base. I think that's what these are trying to do. Yeah. Depots are currently down. Oh. Does it matter though? It doesn't really matter. He's already seen all of the structures right here on top of the ramp. And despite... Oh, well. Despite the fact he didn't see the 3rd command center the first time around, now he sees it. But I think he probably could have judged that based off of the timing right there of those units and the structures that he's seen so far. So now the Overlord can stay alive. Yeah. You can live your life right here and right next to that, I don't know. That cell reception tower, I guess. I don't... He's gonna... No, bro! You had like the best 5G in the world. What are you doing? You're ruining it. Do you think Overlords could also supply Wi-Fi? They're essentially satellites. Depends on your definition, I guess, but... Yeah, now this Overlord's just gonna die. I guess the Overlord figured it was gonna die anyways. Because of the moves right there that the Terran was going for. A Viking was likely gonna come out of that starport very, very soon. Alright, so there's the lair. There's the Baneling nest. Terran in the meantime transitioning towards a bio army, and there's the double NG bay in the back of the natural. Yeah, so both players going for their good old standard. Their bread and butter. Their default playstyle. One thing that we've really seen a lot over the last, I would say, 2 years or so is Zerg players optimizing their queens. So the top level Zerg players have been doing a crazy thing, okay? Low league Zerg players, take notes, okay? Are you ready? They have 3 control groups for queens. So they have one set of control groups for the queens that are, you know, injecting the bases and that are meant for like base defense. And they've got like 2 sets of control groups for queens that are only meant for creep spreading and for controlling the land. So this is on a separate control group right over here, and so is the army on the left. Doesn't seem very significant, but it's surprisingly hard to incorporate in your games. I've been trying it myself, and every time when I get attacked, I find myself, I don't know, not using half of my queens, or you know, I just derp out a little bit. It's very easy to accidentally fat finger those hotkeys, and maybe it's also because I've been playing I've been playing StarCraft 2 for like over a decade right now, right? Like I've been playing since 2010. So changing something that you've always been doing in a certain way, like as core, something as core as Queen hotkeys, it's tricky. One thing that Serral also has done a couple of years ago, and he's been playing like this for a long time, is rather than using like the mouse to go to the corners of the screen to scroll the screen around, he uses the middle mouse button. So he clicks the middle mouse button and he drags the screen around. So he never uses the sides of the screen to scroll around. He uses the middle mouse button, which is another thing I tried incorporating into my own gameplay, and that is just never gonna happen. Maybe I'm too old for this, okay? I don't know. I'm 29. I'm basically a StarCraft boomer, but the middle mouse button scroll doesn't do it for me. Anyways, the first Marines have shown up. There I gotta go into the main base. Whoa, how did those go over there? Maru wasn't sure either. Came in with the rescue. There's the Hydra then once more. Yeah, a little bit of a faster Hydra than what we normally see. Normally we see the Hydra Den in the current meta. Well, I mean, Serral was, I guess, the one that determines most of the meta, so maybe we do see this now, but... most of the time we saw Infestation Pit and Hydra Den around the same time, and then straight into a Hive together with a Lurker Den. But... Serral apparently opting to go for a faster Hydra Den. Going straight into, yeah, the Grooved Spines upgrade. That's the ranged upgrade for those Hydralisks. Hashtag caster flex. Oh. Want to play StarCraft trivia? What's the Hydra speed upgrade called? Muscular augments. Ooh, double flex. I hope you're very impressed. If you haven't subscribed already, you should, because apparently I'm the StarCraft Oracle. I'm a walking StarCraft 2 Liquipedia. Okay, maybe not. Nah. Come on. No, Brenda, Karen. Don't push. The map is slowly being painted with creep, though. And this is starting to be an issue. Maru can't really move around in many places right now. He's securing the 4th base, sure. Wouldn't be surprised if he starts up a 5th, the 6th, the 7th base relatively soon as well. +2/+2, not super quick here. In general, this game has been... like, the pacing of it, Maru is trying to grab the pace, but he's not getting it, right? The tempo lead so far, I would say, well, there's not really a tempo lead at this point, so I guess that's an advantage right there for Serral. Now he's going into the Hive, now he's going into the Lurker Den as well. Serral has been playing an exceptionally clean TVZ so far right here. And that's, yeah, you can't afford that. You cannot afford losing a bunch of Marines like that. Once is fine, I guess. But if that happens regularly, Serral will run away with the victory. Okay, one queen goes down, but... I would say losing a queen, even though, like, I know resource-wise it may not have necessarily been that different. Okay, actually, hold that thought. We have a lot of Banelings. Getting ready. Oh my god, 2 command centers. That was 2 command centers. There was another one building right next to it, too. Very expensive. Oh my god, a 3rd command center? Really? Oh, okay, well, that was a council at least. Serral had the money for it. Anyways, the thing is, Serral at this point has a lot more disposable income than Maru. He's sitting at 97 drones. So Serral, look at this. 4,000 minerals a minute. That's a ridiculous amount of income. Maru has been trying to slow it down, but Serral hasn't taken the damage. He's like, hey, bro, you're supposed to lose drones. What are you doing? So this gives Serral the luxury to make whatever he likes and send in whatever army he likes as well. It also does force him to trade, because obviously he can't really allow the Terran player to grow here. Because then the eventual army of Terran is going to be a little bit big. Vipers are out right now. Lurkers are out. Or, well, the potential for Lurkers are out. He's going for the ranged upgrade. More StarCraft trivia. Seismic Spines. There it is. There's the Ghost Personal Cloaking Field. I think that's what it's called anyways. +1 vehicle weapons. Alright. I'm done flexing. The strangest flex ever. Other YouTubers out there flexing with their big houses and their sick cars and all that. Lowko out there. I mean, my YouTube channel isn't that big, I guess, but... I'm flexing with knowing things in StarCraft 2. Which is kind of what I do for a living, so I probably should know those things. Anyways, here we go. Serral. Oh, big blinding clouds over here as well, shutting down a lot of that Terran army. The Zerg units here are melee, so they don't care at all about those blinding clouds. Siege tanks are going down. Maru backing off right here, trying to keep as many of those ghosts alive, but Serral just, yeah, dealing so much damage here. Now the natural expo of the Terran players being overwhelmed as well. Serral, 70 supply ahead. Not really hurting anyway in this game, right? I mean, look at the minimap. He's painted like 80% of the map with creep. Like, if there's ever like a Yona, you know, painting show, like a Bob Ross, maybe he'll grow like an afro at some point and like, you know, but I would watch it. That's what I'm saying. He probably uses the queens as brushes, the creep as like his paint. He's only got one color. I don't know. Is it purple? Is it gray? This has been a long debate in the StarCraft universe, but it looks very gray to me, but a lot of people say it's purple. I mean, it's purple on the minimap, I guess. Don't even need any liquid white on your canvas as a starting base layer. Nah, Serral absolutely overwhelming everything right now. Maru, though? I mean, if there's anyone good at holding on, it's Maru. Trying to save the SCVs. Did you see the safety? He popped some of the SCVs and then popped them out on the other end of the command center to try and save them. That was actually such a sexy move. But at this point, Serral is literally blocking the third of Terran, or I guess the fourth, with creep tumors. Serral's everywhere. He's like, yeah, let me spread some creep towards the top right corner. I don't know why, but it looks cool. It gives Lowko something to talk about when he casts this game. That's probably not the reason why I did it, but I'd like to think my ego is that big. No, that's not okay. Anyways, Serral dealing a lot of damage on the other side of the map, though. Maru up with his back against the wall. It's a very small wall this time around. Either that or a very large back. Maru's not that big, though. Anyways, here we go. Serral going in for the second wave on this, well, fourth wave on this, I don't know. The X'd wave on this base. Serral at this point can rinse and repeat, although that being said, he's not that rich. He's got so many banelings, though. Oh my god. GG is cold. Maru doesn't want to see those lovely ghosts that he built die. And with that, it is Serral who takes a dominating victory over Maru.